Hello, music multiverse listeners. It's that time again. Yeah, let's go over some new music. Album reviews, Saturdays 2025, episode 35. Only a few more to go. Welcome in my partner in music listening crime, Damn Deb Armitage Hicks Maloney, joining us as always whenever she can. It's if
Yeah,
she's not here, there's a damn good reason why not.
that's true. I'm not a quitter.
No, no. You can if we're here again this weekend, and it's the long Labor Day weekend. And we labored over these six albums. I took three of them and put them up on the website. So, the article section of beyondyourradio.com, you can read about the three albums pictured behind me. We'll talk about them. But as always, with our YouTube version, you get damn. You get damned. And you also get an extra three this week. Yes, yes, we poured it in anyway. And of course, all week long, I've been doing new albums on the album for today, and we'll try to keep up that trend as we go. So, so hang in there for the extra three. It's going to be an interesting argument. The end of summer. I love it. Goodbye, air conditioning. Hello, cool living. And the start of those albums seeking monumental asylum in the confines of the coming fall, right? And that landscape of sound, guess what that brings? Serious, dark, heavier, richer, passionate individuals looking to seek out the holy grail of the greatest album of all time. I know. We've talked about these albums this year that are going to be, album of the year, but now it gets serious. Like the Oscars. All right. That's right. That's right. The
Yeah.
vampire lust for the night is coming because darkness is more important and more prevalent now. Wait till
Oh.
October comes. I'm going to be worse. Uh, it brings the coming shortness of the days and incredulous concepts and desires that feast on the phantom of descriptive songwriting. Yes. Give it to me, baby. Clever, insightful lyrical compounds. Now watch the album of the year will be like goo goo gaga kind of thing, just because it's so cool. There's no lyrical content, just no.
Oh no.
Yeah. A final impression of the year that was 2025, or a statement that will impale the incoming year. Ooh, that's how I like it. Yeah, eat shit, summer. The partying beach time backyard laziness will have to wait until next year. That's right. Sorry, I lost it there for a few minutes. Yeah, I explore every shadow looking for lost souls and faded tans and skin cancer. Great. I'll save it for my banter and more for the Buffalo Bills and Sabres. Yeah, let's go there.
Oh
Three
jeez.
pretty interesting recordings on this shortened listening week with everything that's ending this summer. Yeah, like bringing one's daughter to the first year of college. Nice. Yeah.
I think that's why you're celebrating the end of summer. I was going to say that a little bit later in the show, but I feel your enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. Speaking of enthusiasm, why don't we just get it over with and let's be super naughty? This is Apocalypso from the Italian stoner doom rock band that rises to the challenge of the new era of the genre, but also does a fantastic job of leaning in on some extremely cool influences that allows them a spirit of freedom from the clutches of the usual riff fantastic. This band is not afraid to let the vocalist try and reach for it, and in English, which I must
Yeah.
assume is not their native tongue. Well,
No, they're from Italy, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that will be important to this review. But let's get into Apocalypso's
Oh.
hidden hint of lore, banger approved groove, and love and respect for their approach to this swaggering stoner rock. Let's get super naughty. Well, here's what I hear the minute it kicks off with Poseidon. You know, I hear the band Down from New Orleans.
Yep.
How in New Orleans get over to Italy? Hmm. Listen, boys, if you haven't been to the States and toured, it's time. I know you were hiding out. I think you were hiding out in New Orleans. You're lying. I feel a heavy burden, a confinement in this sense, and it's magnificently presented. A killer track to start off, and the slight drops and the alternative dark, heavy blues harmonies are spot on for Italian. Again, Father of the Sea. Hell yes. Demon of the Sea. Ho ho ho. Yeah. If you're gonna get super naughty, bring on Poseidon, then bring on the sea, bring on the demons. I'm ready. There's no more trick or treat needed to pull me in, and I don't think there's a solitary music loving soul that would argue how this one leads off. Hard, heavy, and a great mid to sludge pace that is inviting as much as it is a notice. It's a notice to all these other bands out there that, you know what? We can do this. We can do it really badass. There's even a bit of that cult in this. I love it. A little cult in that, which had me getting pretty blitzed about the next track, which was Black Witch Mountain. Listen, if you're gonna write a song called Black Witch Mountain, better not be Disney. All right, I ain't watching that. Which you better have it in the pitchforks and spades, baby. If you're going to take that title in the Stoner Rock and take it to the bank, this one brings in more recognizable schooling in the genre. You get Alice in Chains, you get Zach Wilde's guitar moment with Ozzy, as well as Caius. But it's when they hit a certain part and they get to Amsterdam. No offense, damn.
Oh, that's
I
okay. No offense ever
offense
taken
taken.
with you. Or
I
we
know
would
the
be friends.
heaviest dose of the past reality here is Alice in Chains. It is sludgy, poignantly put from the lick to the lyric to the bass to the riff to the roar. And there's not an Amsterdam thing wrong with that, people. Or maybe I'm wrong. Let's check out with Dan.
Okay, well, it's so funny because when these bands that come from these certain places and they list their influences, something like desert rock, and I'm thinking Italy. Then I remember, just across the Mediterranean, there are deserts a lot closer than what it is to me, right? Or even to the east for them through Turkey and that. Yeah. I mean, for me to go to a desert, I have to go all the way to Arizona. And so I'm always confused when I first read that as to why that's their influence, but they've probably been to a desert or two.
I
Um,
would have always assumed it was Italy, that it was dessert, like a nice biscotti or
well, that's what I almost, yeah, or, oh, yeah, okay. Stop making me hungry. Um, and you already named the Alice in Chains and Sabbath and all the usual suspects, but Alice in Chains for sure. About their name though,
oh yes,
it
bring on it.
it's it's not about mischief. It's about an attitude. It's an attitude that if you are naughty, you're going against the norm. And I think that that's what they try to do, but I'm not really sure of where else that goes because I couldn't find out a lot about this band. But I can say that album cover does look super naughty to me.
Yeah.
There's something going on.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, right. I think it's not as innocent as what they're saying. Um,
Yeah, she didn't come from church.
and she looks really comfortable in that position. Let's put it
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. She
Yeah.
doesn't seem like, ooh, oh, that's
Oh,
scaly.
no. She's like,
She's like,
bring it on.
yeah, uh-huh.
But, you
Been
mentioned
there,
their
done that.
yeah, been there, done that. They mentioned you mentioned some of their influences, and then some of the bands they mentioned I never even heard of. Is there an Orange Goblin or
Orange
something?
Goblin. Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
so is that
And
something
it's
I should
exactly
listen
what
to?
you think it would be.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
you got
I'll
it's like
skip
your
it.
cinematic horror rock kind of,
Okay, that makes
yeah.
sense. It makes sense because they draw all the members, all four of them.
Right.
Is it four? Quartet?
Yeah, I think
Or
it's
at least
four. I'm
I
trying to
think it is.
remember they did an interview with Rich Paiva and Turbo, And I'm trying to think if there were
Okay.
4 of them in the room. I think so.
I have written a quartet, so maybe, maybe at one time, maybe more in and out, who knows. But really, when they write their songs outside of their musical influences, they're really into B movies and sci-fi.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's helpful when you're listening to this because, like I say, I try to do my research after, but it helped me listen to this the next 3 times after I knew that. It made a little bit more sense to me. You've mentioned some of the songs in that you like with the lyrics or the meaning or the musicianship, whatever. I liked Weird Science. That had a real Ozzy feel to me, and it caught me every time. And I have to say, the musicianship and the instrumentation and everything, awesome. You said made very complimentary comments about the vocals. I felt that they were ordinary for the genre. I didn't feel that there was anything that would make me go, "Oh, that's super naughty." And that's where I might know that it's super naughty if I hear another song by them from the musicianship part of it, but not the vocals. So, but if they're trying to sound that way, they do a great job. If that's what they want to do. And they're like 10 years old,
Yeah, I
2014
want to
maybe.
say that they've been around a while. From a standpoint of like when we think about it, 10 years to be a band, you did well.
Yeah,
Most of them don't make
exactly.
it past year 2. So,
And and I was kind of like when I'm going, do I like this? Do I not like it? What when I'm done listening to the album and my algorithm shoots me the Deftones after, I don't like the Deftones. So that's
I'm
where
thinking the only reason the Deftone thing came to be is because they had a snake on their album cover too.
okay. Is it between a
No,
okay.
no, no. It's just kind of I don't know. Their album ain't
But
covering
that's what I
anything
got
special
from
either.
that album. So, and I'd never obviously heard of them before. It's not new to this show to hear me say, I never heard of this band before.
So, the one thing this album never attempts to do, and it shouldn't, as it doesn't need to, and it wouldn't fit if it did, attempt to move into something overly doomy or swelling into hardcore or even a heavy shoegaze. Now,
Yeah.
they are like an attacking linebacker in football.
Oh,
Stay in your lane and just fuck up everything in your lane.
oh,
Whatever
good.
happens, you can't sway that way. Your lane can be a little bit of juxtaposition, but don't go crazy. Especially
Yeah.
here's another reason why. If English isn't your native tongue,
Mm,
how do you bang that lyric? How do you execute tempo or
right.
execute a growl or a scream or something of that when it's you don't think that word fits? You know,
True. Yeah.
what I'm saying.
I gotcha.
The band's principle seems to be the same. They're crushing their lane, and it'll come together. And this album, Apocalypso, does that from start to finish. Using great intros, they build enough transition, cohesiveness.
Mhm.
No better sound set for them than that than Queens of Oblivion, or is it Queen? No, it's Queen of Oblivion, Queen of Babylon. God, I suck today. Setting it up, letting it
That's a
happen.
new band name we should.
Yes, yes. Oh, I had a came up with a band name the other day. And then our vocalist comes and just brings a bit more, but not losing the pitch or falling into some scream. Doesn't have that scream. He ain't doing no filter here, or no,
Mm,
or the cult. Uh,
hmm.
and I think that intensity and connections is as great as it can be because they're singing in English. And
Yeah,
I gotta,
I give them that.
that's
But
pretty
yes.
important here. This is a great heavy stoner rock album, no
Yep.
question. Pitched toward the sludge and pitch of Alice in Chains. It's
Oh, yeah.
believe me, we're gonna get to somebody else who does a real decent job of copying in a minute. Stay tuned. I can conform, I can confirm, I don't know, with any regret that they have taken that volume and increased it by a lot more than um, the need for heavier loudness, and that is their volume one. That's their first record, and that was
Yeah.
back in like 2018. And I want to say that it's a good album, but for here where they are now, They didn't up the amplitude in that regard. They upped it in total package. And I think that's it's
Love that.
polished, it's anchored production, allowing this record to stand at a more noticeable and a sort of hypnotic pinnacle, if you will. All
Oh,
right, we're good. Yes, hypnotic pinnacle. So, by the way, if you want to more about the band, the Rich Paiva and Turbo podcast, they interviewed the band. They did a marvelous job. All right, let's go across the border. We go from Italy to Canada. I love to go to Canada. And Kathleen Edwards, a billionaire. No, she's not a billionaire. I don't think she wishes she was either.
nope.
But I just think she's making a pretty profound statement. But that's usually what she does. There's just something about Kathleen Edwards and how she can take a very easy concept title and weave it into a variety of directions. And I think that it has, oh, I don't know, it has this ties to a female Neil Young in my
Yeah.
in that guise she has to utilize any way to songwrite.
Hmm.
It also harkens to the ideals of kind of indie alternative nature of like the Indigo Girls and the spite and bitterness, but only a little. You can't. You're not allowed to be bitter, Canadian. You're not.
Uh-uh.
No.
Uh-uh.
But
They're too
I
nice.
think there's a little Annie DeFranco going on from time to time,
Could be.
as well as that stride in music, the way it's played, which is sort of the love hate I have with this. The
Oh,
Fleetwood Macish kind of playmanship. It's
interesting.
really good, but does it really add anything? Or am I hanging on every syllable and decimal of her voice and what she's going to say? What trickery ensues from her vocal? Not much there, but in that. But oh, that vocal is not something that it's commonplace. It's not. These parts of indie folk and alt country, which is where she kind of lies, she doesn't have that twang. So it's different. All right. I kind of on Billionaire compared to the albums that have come before, as well as her earliest stuff that led her to Carson Daly, as well as David Letterman at one point, have the
Whoa.
spirit as a connection and a hint of that saltiness that we
Hmm.
have always found since her debut in 2002. But let's check out what Deborah has to say.
Well, I do have some fun facts about her.
Ooh,
All right. So, I mean, I knew that she was Canadian, but I think she kind of has a more worldly approach that than some of our Canadian neighbors because they think it's a lovely country. It's lovely. That's the word. And everybody in Canada thinks they're in the best place in the world and everybody should be like Canada and blah, blah, blah. Right. Except they want to keep touring around the world and find out new things. So
yes. Buy the parts
she's
over
a
here because
daughter.
it's less it's cheaper.
Exactly. She's a daughter of a diplomat.
Oh,
So she lived in Korea and Switzerland and other places. So maybe that's what makes her a little more. I think that her songwriting
aware.
is a little bit more, I guess, intuitive and insightful. She
Ah, nice.
started violin at 5, just like I did with piano, and then for 12 years on
Yeah, that's right. She's
piano.
classically trained. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she is. Um, she went through a period of time that she stopped playing music altogether and she opened a coffee shop in Stittsville, Ontario. I did not look up where that is in relationship to our familiarity with Ontario. But anyways, um, the name of the coffee shop was Quitters because she actually quit music
Mm-hmm.
because she was clinically depressed and decided she needed to do something else. She worked through all of that and came back to what she felt she should do, not because other people are telling her to do it anymore, but she felt like this, I got something to offer here. And you mentioned, you know, Anil Young and really her influences she listed just as Young and Dylan, and it's very apparent. Um, Now you mentioned who you think she sounds like or reminds you of, but I'm going to tell you,
Songwriting, the way she does that,
yep.
maybe not sounds like, because again, she doesn't have
Okay.
that kind of vocality. So hers is
Well,
unique.
her vocality to me sounds like Natalie Merchant through and through. Little Red Ranger.
Mom and Dad sure loved you. Hockey kid weekends at the rink. You love the Leafs even though they stink. And you're driving your little Red Ranger all over LA. Someday soon you're gonna call home to tell us that you're gonna stay.
Those are the two songs for sure that I feel like a Tiger Lily thing, not a 10,000 Maniacs with Natalie Merchant, but Natalie Merchant's solo. Also, I think that on Tiger Lily, there's that same kind of phrasing and songwriting that's very emotional. And when Tiger Lily came out, I was going through a really bad time in my life, and it's a very emotional, evoking album for me. And so that brings me to my favorite song on this album, which makes me cry now, even thinking of it. And it's the title song, Billionaire.
Okay.
It's sweeping, it's emotional. The meaning is so true. It's just about if all the things that she has now that brings her connection to people like I have you, Mark, and my family that have stuck around through all my hard times. If I had more of that, I'd be a billionaire. And I think that she's got a way of writing music, and I'm going to use that Canadian word that I've already used, but I felt that this was a lovely, lovely album. And the guitar and the vocal combination, I know what you prefaced with was just, did she need to do this? She need to do that. It worked for me. The way everything intertwined and kind of built on each other. And that's because maybe I was a big Fleetwood Mac fan. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you prefaced it with that, because if you had just said what you said without the Fleetwood Mac, I'd be like, what's he talking about? But we are in agreement about Fleetwood Mac, why I like it and why you kind of back off a little bit. I do hear it in this album, but I didn't think about it till you said Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
I love you, Kathleen. Come visit us.
She probably will be in the US, I would imagine. She always knows how to start an album. Save Your Soul falls right in line with the collection from Voyager on down to Failure. I'm not going to count Total Freedom as an album for my own personal reasons. Well, let's just say it didn't have any musical fortification on it, and this album comes dangerously close to the same thing. So the question for me is, where will she stick it? Because it's going to happen. Yeah. She's going to stick something, and that's what I love about her writing. Well, she certainly does to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's the point where I knew the songwriter in question is still there, and this time in her life, she's still there, still has a lyrical, emotive topic. And welcome to the third track, which is Little Red Ranger. Yes, the Toronto Maple Leafs still suck at playoff time, but maybe just a little less. Now that she's established that, I'm ready for the music to take me to someplace. But I get, well, most of this is kind of standard, and that's for a reason. It's the vocal that holds everything together, but I'm still a fan of Voyager. As the record, it's the best. You can go back. Failure and Asking for Flowers have a depth of instrumental play as well in production, but Billionaire is maybe that medium. While I'm looking for the alt of this, which truly kind of is omitted in my opinion, the record kind of tracks lovely from start to finish lyrically, and it lets the songstress be. And I love the idea. Yes, the billionaire, right? I'd be a billionaire if, I could come to realizations, if I could come to understand, if I could let go, if I could, realize what I have, and right. And it's still bullshit. I don't care. I want more. Everybody wants more.
And you want to know what? She's 47. She's younger than you. So let's catch up with the race,
The
Mark.
whole world's younger than me. That's why I have old people on my show. Billionaire has a faithful position You got to give it the truth of everything that's been bestowed upon this Canadian singer-songwriter, world traveler, and she utilizes every instance of it. Good for her. And I knew she had her her coffee days were well discussed on social media. And
Oh.
when you've got a posse following around on social media going, when are you gonna do the next album? Come on, you gotta just coffee shop's great, but come on. Or are you gonna be a Dan Orbach and make somebody else famous? Okay, well, that's great too. But that's the truly honest and good part about this whole thing. It creates connection,
Yes.
and it does so in a minimal alternative country pop sense. It's extremely comfortable and easy. The angst is
Comfortable.
dressed up a bit, but it doesn't. It gets dressed up, but it doesn't get taken out of the town.
Yeah, it's not heavy.
It
Not
doesn't hit
heavy.
Young Street. Yeah.
I haven't been to Young Street in a while. Love to go. Smuggle me in.
All right. So here's the hardest to pronounce. This is Gabriel Algrias and the Afro-Peruvian Sextet, El Muki. Now, the Afro-Peruvian Sextet was established in 2005. But,
Oh,
yeah, but really listen. We all know that they really, really, really are coming from someplace way, way older. The way I'm hearing it, it's the very reason it's on the show. This is Latin jazz infusion that has been waiting a lifetime for lifetime ago, where there were just minutes of this, places and travels and stuff. And on El Muki, Gabriel Algriaz's Afro-Peruvian Sextet is drinking the full leche de la tigre.
mm.
Now, if you don't know what that is, look it up. I don't have time to explain it. And while I think it's important, I want that to not mark or disturb your listening. So, in an inventive program of traditional Afro-Peruvian music, how is that even traditional? All
I
right, so you
don't
got
even know.
Afro-Peruvian. Peru and Africa. No,
Peru's
they're not
over
near each other
there.
by any means. You can't get there from one. I don't even think you get a plane straight there, probably, unless you're very wealthy or you're a billionaire.
Panama Canal.
No, well,
No,
no. I'm just saying
no.
It's not, the two places are not
It's
near each
not
other. So
easy.
how they came together, we really don't know. But I know how. I know. I'm not
Oh.
sharing yet. It's got the base formation of this folkloric Afro-Peruvian kind of thing going on, right? Jazz and the musical strains, which are really the essence. So the essence, when I'm thinking about essence, I'm talking about essence. There's shit you sprinkle on there that I don't even know where the hell that comes from. So don't put that on my plate because I don't know where you got it from. Cilantro, I know where you got that from, right? So put that on there. I like a little smoked meat. Sure, throw that on there too. Limon, well, that came from Peru. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Limon. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know any African spices. Sometimes peppers on the musical dishes. I love it. This is a musical dish. This album is a
Yeah.
musical dish, and I'll get to that and everything about it and where it came from. But I'll let damn
Because
bloviate
you,
and
because you know this is my genre that really challenges me, right?
yes,
So
yes.
I have a lot of facts, though.
Did you
Okay,
really give a damn?
I
Half
did. Well, only a half a damn.
a damn.
So the name of the album means a mythical goblin from the Peruvian culture.
Cool.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense with the album cover. I do feel that the album cover is fitting for Peruvian, whatever kind of stuff that you're trying to conjure up and, the gods and blah, blah, blah. But in a modern sense that this jazz is trying to make us get in the mood for. It also looks like some kind of string art, but silly string. Um,
Ah, yeah.
his Gabriel's god or grandfather was a famous Peruvian novelist, and his father was a playwright. And so I find that interesting because I would say that people that come from that genetic lineage of being, artists is where it would land you if you're musical into jazz because you get to kind of make it up as you go, like novelists do and, playwrights do. Um, I don't have a lot to say about the music itself because of the way I feel about jazz, but I read this, and this is exactly why I have some issues with jazz. And he's very, very known for his heavy use of asymmetrical bass lines and shifting time signatures. And that's exactly where I get my anxiety with that kind of music, where it's just a little off kilter. And it's okay when you have something like Rob Thomas with Santana on that Supernatural album, where it's off, but there's vocals that pull it back together. So you kind of get away from the musicianship a little bit of it, and it kind of works better for me. That's all I'm gonna say with that, and I'm sure this is amazing album. I want to say that to you outside of what my personal critique is on song by song. It's hard for me to listen to other than, but there's a really cool instrument they use on here, and it's called quijada. It's the jawbone of a donkey. Once I read that, I go, I got to go back and try to find out where this is. And I don't know which songs it's on, but there's a lot of odd instruments on this album that do hold my interest because I'm like, okay, did the donkey jaw come from the Peruvians or the Afro-American? I don't know.
Gabrielle, what did you do with the donkey bone? I don't see it anywhere.
So my thing is when I read about them, Miles Davis was, mentioned as one of their influences, but could he not be?
Yeah,
It
I'm
seems
not a
kind of
fan of
like
Miles.
if he did, if some jazz person didn't list it, I'd be like,
The
well,
hell's wrong with you?
um, but one of the things that they said was the strong suit with this performer is cultural storytelling. It's really hard for me to know about storytelling without words. That's just how I am. And unless I know the culture, it's not going to make any sense to me. So maybe that's where the disconnect came a little bit, but it's gorgeous. Not just lovely, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. So, can you get culture from a dish? A meal, right? I think you can.
Needle.
I think if you know the ingredients and the parts of it and the way it's presented, you feel the culture. Now, like paella, for example,
Yeah.
it's a poor man's dish, right? So now you know the peasantry type of things. Wait a minute, that's tripe in there. Yeah, they know lobster in there. That's served with tripe, right? You don't know what tripe is? Look it
Yeah.
up.
After you eat.
This is a true album that is a meal to music without it being told in as many courses as necessary or
Let's do it.
being courses at all. Um, the last song tells you how long we've been waiting for this.
Mm-hmm.
The respect, the institution, and that both Sting and Marcellus brought to the evolution of punk rock, moving to formatively cool jazz. And here, Gabrielle and his crew are pushing that right back where I would assume that connection was first made for them too, considering their age versus my own.
Mm-hmm.
Bring On the Night is the album I'm speaking of. Yes,
Ah,
they do Walking on the Moon as the last song on the record. And it has that formation, that desire, that design into that. And the importance of that very piece and the live triumph and transformation that that album wound up being is
yeah.
monumental in music history. It doesn't get talked about as much, but it is. It is the link between rock, punk, and jazz. Um, this is the intention and the arousal of his sextet, this
Yeah.
compositions and the instrumental fascinations made by the partnership that formed in 2005. But man, this is beyond their formative years. This is an absolute 10 from start to finish. It has every layer of anything that you will want or require if you take it from that lead. For me, anyway.
Well,
And
if you can make a song with a donkey jawbone and nobody knows what's that donkey jawbone in
Yeah.
here, and they made it be like an instrument that it just cohesively works in there. They know what they're doing.
This certainly puts them on the map for me. I'm gonna go back, take a look at some other listens to some other stuff too.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, we got 3 extras. All right, let's get into the first one. And Chevelle, Bright as Blasphemy. First of all, finally, you know, they got an album cover here that, you know, it's cool as hell. I just, the minute I saw it, I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, this is all right. So here we go. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm never going to step around it. Their last album was an excellent exposure into the progressive space rock and even doomish reveling toward a concept record. All right. It was the first record that didn't sound exactly like a certain band. It was, which I have always thought they completely sound like and completely rip off. I have every record they own, or I have every record. I own them all. All right. Some I like a little bit more than others, but their last album was definitely stood way out from what they sound like all the goddamn time. All right. Niratias, which was, we called it Niratius. Was a concept album, but it's nothing is relative. I don't remember what, it's too long a title. As a matter of fact, of all the titles of their albums, it's the shittiest of all time. Worst album title, but basically the best inspiring and original album they've ever had. Well, that's gone because they went right back to tooling around again and making the doom alternative rounds. And god damn it if he doesn't sound like the lead singer of Tool. Album sounds like Tool. I don't know. Oh, damn, you go now for a
Well, this was very disappointing for me because I think I said to you the one day after we were done doing another show and I was writing down what was coming in the coming weeks, and I went, wow, so excited about Chevelle. And then I put this on and I went, wait a minute, did I mix them up with the Chevelles? Because it's a different band, right? Totally different. And then I went back and I go, no, this is the band that I thought it was going to be, but it's the album that you're talking about that I thought it was going to be. Because I don't like Tool. That, you know me, that is not in my wheelhouse. I would have a hard time reviewing that and saying anything good. So that's where it brings me to this, because I think I texted you the other day and luckily you didn't respond. And I said, I'm boycotting Chevelle. The only good thing I can say is, they were named after their dad's car. Okay, that's cool. But you're from Illinois, not Michigan. So, another cool fact, just because I got to bring something to the table here. The guitarist is left-handed, but plays right. So that interests me because my son was right-handed and did everything left. So I guess the only other thing I can say is they cite their influences for bands that I don't hear on this album, that these bands I actually like Depeche Mode, The Cure, Black Flag, and the Dead Kennedys. I don't like Tool, and this is a Tool album. So take it away, host. I'm glad we did agree on the one. You made a mention that you had one on the list that you weren't sure about, and we didn't talk about it. Is this the one that you weren't?
As I say everything I say, this album is fantastic. All the
What?
little tricks and things with his vocals. He's, there's this weird wickedness to it. There's a play on it. Yes, it's Tool. It sounds like Tool. It's freaking Tool. All right, but it's like it's really good Tool.
Okay, well, I'm glad, but you like Tool and I
Yeah,
don't. So
I
fair,
love Tool. All
fair
right,
enough.
there are
Fair
some
enough.
albums I love more than others, but yes, their prior
Fair enough.
record, number one album of the year. It was easy. It wasn't even. I mean, it wasn't even close when it came out, and everybody gobbled it up. It was gone in record stores like Taylor Swift, which is unusual for bands in that era.
True.
To run out of albums for bands like that. People don't even buy them. I did the magnitude of it is really good. The delivery is excellent. It's not original. Spank me, but still very in your face doom alternative rock, singing for their heavy alt supper apparently. And I've never seen them, and now that I've got this and that, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time.
Okay, great. I'm busy that day. Okay.
Yes. Good choice. All right, next we move into another band that. What just happened? All right, Dinosaur Pile Up. I've felt better. Wow. Now I've sung the praises and reviewed what I thought was their last record.
It wasn't?
Things slip by. So in 2016, they had an album called 1111. Well, actually, it wasn't made in 2016. It actually came out in 2014 and 2015 in two other countries, where it didn't ever make U.S. airwaves until 2016. I don't know why, but they got the punk sound. They got this alt thrash kind of thing, but they had noise rock in there. They weren't afraid to throw things in. It was just a wicked album. Loved it, right? And not only did I sing its praises, it was the first year the top albums of that year, the top 16 albums of 2016. At number 16 was Dinosaur Pile Up at 11.
Come on.
So it was kind of great. I'm going, all right, next album. I found out there was an album in the middle. I never even got to. So the band has changed. I did not realize this. Don't get me wrong. They still got their alt, their punk, their Nirvana. Okay. It's there. It ain't Nirvana's Nirvana, but it's heavily influenced. The way the songs are written is definitely the way they're delivered. Not the same pitch and tone, but right. But I dug it. I thought it was really good. Is it 11:11 for me? No, because 11:11's got stuff that made me go, wait a second. Whoa, hey, this one's got me going. Oh yeah, I'm in. It's there. But Deb, you know the Pile Up.
Okay, well, why don't you just put across my face? I've never heard of this band before. So I've never heard of this band before.
Alex Zeluzny had mentioned them on one of the shows too.
Oh, maybe. Well, you know what? I
same
ignore
album.
him a lot of times, but because he's always wrong.
What does he know?
But oh my gosh. I mean, you mentioned Nirvana, but they cite all of their influences are from across the pond because they're from England, right? Nirvana was one of them. But we had a show last week was what would your music festival be? And I cited Weezer, and they cite Weezer as one of their big influences, which is interesting because I think Nirvana was Smashing Pumpkins that they cited, and then Weezer put all that together, and you go, maybe that's where this album is coming from. But the name of the album is actually a moniker for the frontman's experience with ulcerative colitis. I mean, we see it all on TV now. You can't, there's a lot of medications for ulcerative colitis. But when they were writing this album, he was going through that as a major medical problem that was keeping him from being like living life the way we live, right? So look at some of the names on the album. Love's the worst. I don't love nothing and nothing loves me. It's like he didn't feel good. He had a
He said,
tummy
I
ache,
felt
I
better.
think. I felt better.
Just standing in the rain, it's been a hell of a ride, I guess you could say. I felt better. I felt better. I felt. Suck it up, times be rough. Fucking 2020, man, what the fuck? Why is everything lost its meaning? Crazy how much 2 years could suck. Now my head's an empty apartment. Maybe I'll take a walk and just stand in the rain or like whatever. Fuck it. Yeah! I guess you could say lately I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. Yes, I felt better.
But the name of the band, do you know where they got that?
Nope.
It's from a King Kong remake in 2005. There's a ridiculous scene of a massive dinosaur pile.
It's
And they
Jack
go,
Black and they're filming it. Yeah.
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 This is the kind of stuff that makes me start liking bands, even if I don't like their music. So I like coolness, right? So I have to say, I found it fun and upbeat
Despite.
because I listened to it first without knowing about the colitis, thank God. So, but Big Dog made me laugh because there's a cowbell in there.
Yes.
No
That's
more
what I'm looking for,
cowbell.
more
but give me
noise and
some-
noise rock, but that didn't happen here in this one.
Yeah. So this was a really fun thing in the middle of what we were doing this week. And yeah, and he overcame colitis and hopefully he's in remission when he writes the next album.
Yes. What will the next album's title be?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Next up is Super Chunk.
Hmm.
Songs in a Key of Yikes. So I see that song title and I immediately think of Songs in the Key of X, which was the X-Files album. But I see no comparisons in that regard. So they just came up with it apparently, although maybe somebody's got some interesting fact or not. But if you're not familiar with Superchunk, the familiarities will be there whether you knew their name or not. How they play, it's garage punk with an edgy power pop kind of thing.
No, there was something in the air in the basement with the smoke, and beneath the street a switch was thrown.
And garage.
Yeah, it's
Definitely
garage.
getting garage. And they play it with purpose and vigor. And the only problem that comes with stuff like this for me is I know there's a tonal change in the guitar, but it's not much. And then maybe it is a little bit more much, but it's usually the same pace. Isn't it to you, to me? You know, the vocal, she's I'm not saying she's not happy. I'm not saying she's overly happy. I'm not saying she's miserable. I'm just saying she's delivering it. You know, and it's you're not going to get like a mood from it. You're just going to get blasted. And there's the punk part, I guess, right?
Yes.
But I think I heard a Superchunk album once before, but I'm not quite certain that I remember it. So it was kind of cool. So I thought we'd get Supernaughty, and at the end we'd be super chunky.
There's the bookends.
Yes. So did those bookends meet? Damn.
Okay, well, you know, they're from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. All right. Which is so funny because, I spend a lot of time in the Carolinas and I never think of punk, indie, college, maybe college radio.
College radio.
Then
Yeah.
yeah. And their influences are named many people, but REM, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Isn't REM from Georgia? Aren't they
Atlanta,
from
yeah.
Georgia? Athens, Georgia.
Athens, yeah. Wrong A.
Yep. Bassist, the bassist, Laura, whatever her last name is. I don't remember her last name. She was in a relationship with McCoggan. Is he the vocalist, writer, right? Well, they
The
were in a
writer, of course, right?
relationship early, but they're not together anymore. But he wooed her with teaching her how to play a bass. So she learned to play bass, love story, whatever, but now she doesn't tour with them live because she has a medical condition, hypercusis, which is in layman's term, I can't hear anymore. And I have tinnitus. So she doesn't tour with them, but I think the big thing about them that I read, which is probably going to be their influential thing, is they launched a label, right? They're a record label, and they signed Arcade Fire and a few others, and there's some stuff going on there beyond their musicality. But then I'm like reading some of the song names and what I'm listening to, and when you're able to sing and play and make you feel like you're having a fun time and the name of your song is Everybody Dies. It made me laugh because everybody does die. So why are we so sad about it? Like
Yeah.
it just happened. Let's just get over it,
And
right?
I would have liked a little profundity in there, like everybody dies. And the funny part is, we're the only species on the planet that knows it's going to happen to us.
Truth.
No
Ignorance
profundity.
could be bliss. Maybe we
Yeah.
should go backwards, right? Um, there was one song title on here that is fitting for our show, though. Is it making you feel something? And that's where I connect with music, whether it's the lyrics, it's the musicianship, is it the combination? Does it make you feel something? And this made me feel fun. I don't know if this is anything great or anything that I would go back and look for or look to, or I'll probably forget about Super Chunk, but I did want a chunky bar with some peanuts and raisins in it. And but I don't know.
Yeah.
It was easy compared to not the Chevelles, compared to Chevelle.
Yeah. Yeah. I think bands like that, they find a following, they find a niche that's their area, and then maybe they open for somebody and they get a little bit, but this is not a band that was going to take center stage in anywhere.
Right.
Pretty commonplace, but still,
We know some of those in Buffalo, don't
yeah,
we?
little catchy here and there. Got some things
Yeah.
going on. I wasn't. It was a good listen. Again, punk and power pop. It can go one way or the other. You can really super tune it, or you can keep it at a college garage level. And I kept it at the college garage level, and nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of really good garage bands out there that have made a living off being in a garage band.
Yep.
So yeah. Well, most bands start out in a garage. Of all the terminologies of anything, that's probably the worst one. They're a garage
Yeah,
band.
because it sounds so nasty, but that's where
Jesus,
it
didn't they all
starts. Where
start out
else are
that
you going to
way?
go as a
Yeah. Well,
kid?
duh.
Get out of here with your drum
Oh,
kit, kid.
as opposed to your father's basement band.
Well, the acoustics in there suck.
Yes. Then Phil Collins sometimes sounded like he was singing in a toilet bowl. So where did you go? I recorded in the bathroom. All right.
The
So,
bopper.
what did you think of these albums? What turned you on? What turned you off? Let us know in the comments. Like what you like, leave what you don't. I don't need a you dislike it because you dislike the album. I mean, it's supposed to be disliking us. Subscribe to the channel for a whole lot more. Next week, something I've been waiting for. It's finally here. Well, I was going to grab it. That would be giving it away. I had to get it on the minute it came out, because more on that next week. We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, of course. Why am I going slower? Intentionally, of course. Articles, videos, podcasts coming soon. Go Beyond Your Radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Thanks for watching, and happy listening.
Bye.